Welcome to the Apex Strengthcast with your hosts Tyler Seabrook and Anthony Krasner. This Strengthcast is brought to you by Apex Strength training for everyone. Today we have Amanda Micallef on from Divine Physiques and Strength.
Coaching.
She's come down to talk about her powerlifting career. She competed 3 times last year, her boxing career, and overcoming depression and anxiety earlier in her life through fitness, I believe. She's had a really good athletic career. She's done a lot, and we're all interested to learn from her.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for having me on, guys. I'm excited to be here today.
No worries. Thanks for coming on.
Just tell us about your past, how you got into boxing, how you got into powerlifting.
Yeah, so basically in 2011 and pre that, I used to go out and party and smoke and drink and, I wasn't probably on the worst end of that spectrum, but I was living a lifestyle which kind of wasn't sitting well with me. Like I'd get to sort of Sunday morning, hungover in the background, smoking and laughing with my best mate, but inside just feeling like shit all the time, rolling into Monday and Tuesday. And, I was a hairdresser back then, so I wasn't really earning a lot of money. Yep. I'd earn probably $250 a week as an apprentice, and then pretty much blow it all on the weekend. And then come to Monday, I'd have $20 or $50 left in my account. So I knew I was living a lifestyle which was kind of going to get me nowhere, but I also had to appreciate that I was only 20, 21 at the time.
Yeah. I think it's something everyone learns, right?
Yeah,
whether
we all
it's
go
earlier or later.
Yeah.
But not everyone, but most people go through that party phase.
100%.
Right, and then they get to a point where like, oh, this isn't. Well, you hope they get to a point where they're like, this isn't sustainable.
Yeah.
We were actually just talking about this, about how we never want to be paycheck to paycheck again. And we actively will avoid that life because we've done it. I think most people have been there.
I think you have to go through it though. I think there's that 1 in 50. Those 1 in 50 people that, they're 20, by the time they're 20, they're already working full time and they own their first house, and good luck to them. And that was something I didn't aspire to in my 20s. I wanted to enjoy my 20s. I wanted to be a kid because I knew I had the rest of my life to be an adult, so to speak. So I don't regret my decision to go out and have a great time because, I've got memories that will last with me forever. But it sort of got to a point around the age of 23 where I was like, I'm just sick of smoking. I need to give up, but I know I need something to replace it with. I wasn't stupid. I knew, I wasn't going to just try and quit without obviously filling that time, because it was a good time filler, with the amount of breaks you take at work, or, you have a fight with your partner. What's the first thing you do? You go out and you smoke your lungs out because it's your companion while you're punching on with your other companion, so to speak.
Yeah.
So 2 days later, when I put that thought out there to the universe, I met my first boxing coach, Igor, who I've now done full circle and I've come back to him. And, as a hairdresser, you make conversation. He came in for a haircut. So what do you do, Igor? I'm a boxing coach. And I'm like, yes, thank you. So it was like the universe was listening. And I said to him, okay, so where do you work and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, look, I run a studio from home. Maybe you should come and check it out. I've got a few boys there. They're, very welcoming, blah, blah, blah. And so I went. And after my first session, so the first session went for about 2 hours. So I was doing gym at the time, but I needed something more. Yep. So I was still smoking and also lifting weights. Yep. And I had like a free gym program that my trainer at the time had given me. Never actually had invested into coaching at that point. And it was working. It was working well until it sort of started to hit a plateau and I needed more. And I'm like, no, I really want to give my lifestyle an overhaul. So now I need to go to that next level. And then I went to Igor's, did my first session. My lungs nearly collapsed. And I'm like,
especially boxing, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my God, I didn't realise how unfit I was. So it was a huge reality check for me, and I quit cold turkey and I never looked back. So after that, I fell in love with boxing, and it gave me a confidence that I just couldn't sort of attain elsewhere.
Yeah.
So growing up, I suffered pretty bad anxiety and depression. And coming to terms with my sexuality as well, which was also quite hard. So I do identify as being gay. And it was just hard going through high school, going through, trying to deal with a little bit of rejection from the family as well. They were trying to come to terms with it. Being a European at times, it's like, yes, we love you, but do we really accept you type thing. So it was hard.
The traditions hold more with Europeans, don't they?
It's hard at any phase of life, let alone in your teenage years, you know, when you're developing and trying to figure out who you are. Yeah. Like, to have that feeling of like, am I really accepted by my family? Like, that would be,
Look, I think my parents had every intention to want to make me feel like it was okay, but I think at times their actions were speaking louder than their words, and I felt that alienation a little bit. Yeah. Was you know, you really are different, and you know, you don't fit the mold, or you know, you don't aspire to want to get married or have kids, or you know, that was probably thinking, well, you can't give us grandchildren, so we don't know that we have things in common with you anymore, type thing. Yeah,
especially when that's their priorities for you to have children as well. I mean, which you still can.
Absolutely.
So that's, you know, not a big issue. What age did you actually like openly come out to your family that you were gay?
I was only 18.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was quite young. And a lot of people don't do it until they're around 30. Yeah. So suffice to say, I had big balls from a young age. It took a lot of strength to be able to stand up for myself back then. And I think, look, having gone through all of that from a very young age and having acquired the knowledge to go out and go, okay, I'm not going to resort to antidepressants. Like, I knew back then that wasn't the answer.
Yeah, good.
And I thought, you know, like, if I can talk myself into a good day or a bad day. And I started to understand the power of my own words and go, you know what, like, there is some real power in this shit. Like, I'm going to tell myself I'm going to have a good day. And then I started to read more on personal development and the self-image and the story that we tell ourselves, and obviously how that plays out in our day-to-day.
Yeah.
Just, sorry to, like, this is really good conversation. Just make sure you're keeping the mic quite close.
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet.
Like
perfect.
that?
Yeah,
I gotta kiss the mic.
Yeah, you want to talk at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's so directional.
Cool.
But yeah, sorry to go off track.
That's all right.
Did you, because you knew that antidepressants weren't the answer to, you know, dealing with your issues, and like the studies show that what exercise is actually more effective than taking antidepressants.
Well, a lot of, not all the time.
Not all the time, depending on the extreme cases, right? Is that what you saw as well? Is that what you...
so I was the sort of person that I started things and didn't finish things in my 20s. Yeah, my mum always said to me, you're a Jackie of all trades and a master of none. And I said, you say that now, but one day I will prove you wrong, right? But I was the sort of person, I had to find a passion. You know, I wanted to try everything because I know that I'm one of those people that and I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but I'm a little bit gifted in the sense that if I put my hand on something, I know I can make it work. Yeah. So to go back to your question, I fell in love with training because of what it gave for me emotionally. I started to see my confidence go up. Don't get me wrong, I used to sit in the car for 5-10 minutes before every session at the start, get really fucking uncomfortable and talk myself into getting through the doors, whether that was sparking up a smoke for, you know, just talking myself going, it'll be okay. Like, you're confident, you're a beautiful woman, you've got this. You know, and I did that for quite some time, whereas now I can walk into a crowd and everyone parts like the Red Sea. But make no mistake, like, there were years of self-doubt and anxiety and getting really uncomfortable to just walk into the gym. Whereas now it's like, hey, I feel like I own the place. Yeah.
Scary that's a reality for so many people too.
Yeah,
do you think 100%. That was because of the anxiety and everything like that you'd have a lot of self-doubt?
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't go to the gym because they have some level of anxiety that whether they choose to actually fully acknowledge it or not. You know, some people go, I hate the gym. Well, why do you hate the gym? You don't hate the gym. You fucking have no confidence for the gym.
Well, you go online, and that's a good point though, like, and people maybe don't identify it as anxiety, but when you go online around December, January every year, you see a bunch of people posting about New Year's resolutionists, right? Yeah. Going, oh, it's going to be full, it's going to be crap till like March. And that's a big reason people doubt themselves, or they go, oh, what are people going to think of me, and things like that. There's a point, like, you know, you do need to figure out ways to get through that. And look, sometimes people do judge you, like, but I'm not saying that's right. Yeah. But, you know, when you can come and kind of accept that and be like, oh, who really cares? Like,
when you say people, like, who are you referring to people already in the gym, or are you referring to like their own loved ones?
Like, people in the gym can be pretty full on with that. Right, if you're
Yeah.
not doing stuff right, they'll make jokes about you behind your back. You
Yeah,
can tell when
100%.
people are laughing at you.
100%.
Like
100%.
curling in the squat rack kind of. Yeah.
But so it's understandable why people do have that anxiety before they go in the gym, especially if they've
Yep.
never done anything like that. And if you already have low self-confidence or anxiety or depression, it just makes it even harder and harder, right? And getting through that's really, really hard to do.
Yeah. Well, look, you wouldn't drive a car without getting driving lessons. Cool. So it's a machine at the end of the day, and there is a right and wrong way to obviously drive that machine. It's the same thing when you walk into a gym. It's like, if you know nothing about those machines, why wouldn't you just invest into a coach so that you don't feel like a dickhead and you don't get ridiculed? Because obviously that ridicule is going to deter you from wanting to go back after 2-3 weeks, when you start to notice all the guys over in the, someone's watching you. Like, you can just sense that someone's not saying the right thing. And it's like, I see it all the time. There are so many people doing the wrong things in the gym and they feel so self-conscious about it.
Yeah.
And I want to go and help them, but I'm like, no, Amanda, hold back. It's like, unless someone asks for your help, it's
kind
so
of
hard.
some people, because like there's the people who'd really appreciate if you did, and there's the other side of like, oh, how dare you try to tell me how to do this exercise.
Yeah. Well, I train at Derrimut,
yeah.
and they've actually got signs, and they say, unless someone asks for your help, don't help anyone.
Yeah.
So I'm very aware of that. Yeah, but I feel people's pain. I really do. Like, I have empathy for those that want to do better for themselves, but they just don't know where to start, or they don't see the value in investing in a coach to get started the right way.
And is that a big reason why you are a coach?
I'm a coach because I turned a passion into a career, and I knew I could make, probably better money working for myself, doing what I'm most passionate about, solving more problems rather than working in a job I hated. But it took me 10 years to realise that. So from the age of 21, like, I wanted to be a coach back then. But because I'd sort of come out of high school and, I jumped into a fashion course because I actually wanted to be a fashion designer in high school.
Yeah.
And I was sick of studying, and I'm like, oh my God, the thought of doing another year of study and dropping another $8,000, because back then, like, PT courses were like $8,000 to get all these certificates and this, that. And I said, nah, now's not the right time. I'll come back to it when I'm ready. And then a few years ago, I think I was 28 or 29, a family friend had committed suicide. And that was a real wake-up call for me to actually get off my ass and do what I love, because I was working in a call center at the time. So I was working for AMP in superannuation, and it was a great company to work for, no complaints. But I was at that age, they call it Saturn's return. You get to about 28, 29 years old, and you start to question your life, and you're like, where am I going with my life? If you aren't where you want to be at that point, it was a good sort of, it was a good opportunity for me to go, I think I need to do my heart's calling. Like, what would I do for no money? I'd fucking lift weights all day long, and I would help people do it along the way.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was the best thing I ever did.
It's more or less like Anthony and I's philosophy to it as well. It was just like, I don't want to do a job that I don't want to do. So it's like, well, we can't lift and make money unless you're like in the top 0.5%, but you can open a gym and become a coach, and you can do these things.
Yeah.
And then you can also continue to do what you're passionate about, which is for us, like lifting, competing, coaching. And so we worked hand in hand. Because like, I got a business degree, but this is what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I could have gone in any different field, but this is,
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the same process it sounds like you went through.
Yeah, look, it was a long time. I felt like I was a bit of a late bloomer. Like, one thing I've noticed within the strength and fitness community is there's a lot of young people out there that have just got amazing amounts of success. It's still in their 20s, like Jacob Skeppers being one of them. So he's my coach. And I'm always in awe about what that guy created, because he started so young. So, if people are blessed to discover what they want to do within their 20s, like, fantastic. I'm going to be 34 this year, and it's like I'm just sort of where I'd like to be, but then I'm so far away from,
And you're still young.
Yeah,
in reality,
yeah.
you are still very young.
It's one of those things, though, like, you can't just put, like you were saying before, you can't just put a time frame on it.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, I'm 25, I should be here. I'm 30, I should be here.
Yeah.
Right? When you try to force it, a lot of the time you end up getting stuck doing something you don't want to be doing, or And then you get to 40, you're like, oh man, I should have done what I wanted at 25.
Yeah.
And you know, by now I'd be loving my job, but now I'm stuck there for another 10, 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
So you know, whether you do it at 20, 30 or 40 or 50, like
It doesn't matter. It doesn't
when
matter.
you find that calling, go for it. You know, I had heaps of anxiety about opening up Apex Strength because I was losing my income and opening here, but it's something we talked about for years, like.
Yeah.
And I was like, and this I think I remember having this conversation because we got screwed over. We were going to open somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if I want to do it and that. And everyone was like, oh, not everyone, a few people were just like, look, you do the hard work now, you pay for it. Look, you won't earn money for a year or two. But then you reap the rewards later. So you're either uncomfortable now or you're uncomfortable at 40 when you have a family and a mortgage and stuff.
Totally.
I remember
Totally.
that moment. I was just like, no, I'm not giving up. I see, I'm stubborn, so I'll see something through. Like, no matter what.
Yeah, but that's all. You need that trait in business. Like, you have to be relentless in your pursuit to happiness.
You do,
You know,
yeah.
you really do.
Yeah, because we could have folded at that point. It
Yeah.
seemed hopeless at that point, and it took us like 3 months to find.
What was the hardest thing about opening a business? I love business. I'm very passionate about business. So, I mean, what was the hardest thing, I guess?
The council.
Swallowing pride.
Yeah.
Swallowing pride. One of
In
the
what,
hardest.
what sense
For
though?
both. So, and this is like advice to anyone who's listening and to like people who want to start a business. Learn to swallow your pride.
Do you want a little story on that?
Yeah, expand on that because
So-
I'm interested. Yeah.
Last year, so before we opened Apex Strength, I was earning all right money. I'd earned more before, I'd earned less before, right? I was comfortable. And then we opened Apex Strength, and my income went to 0. And then we salvaged together like $80 or $90 a week, right? Now, I was trying to eat like 6,000 calories, 5,000 calories and $80, $90 a week, get to the gym. So I couldn't go anywhere else besides the gym and home because I didn't have money for petrol. Not I'll put $10 in. I didn't have $10. Anyway, so my auntie helped me out a lot. Family members helped me out a lot. They'd always bring food over and stuff. My grandma helped me out heaps, right?
Gotta love a grandma.
Woman. With all her good Croatian cooking and she'd always be like, "You're skinny, like eat," and always just feeding me. My brother helped me out a lot. Everyone helped me out a lot, but not in directly like giving money ways because I would say no. So I went to my mum's and I got together enough money for petrol. I think she actually gave me money for petrol to go see her because she lives like an hour and a half away.
Yep.
Or an hour away. And I go there and she's just like, "Look, can we help you out?" And I was like, "No, I'm all right." Now, I hadn't bought new clothes for like 6-7 months at all. All my clothes are old. I had all these things I needed to pay for. And mum was like, and this is on Swallowing Pride, mum was like, "Let us just give you 50, 80, 90 bucks a week. It'll help you at least a little bit." And I was like, "Nah, it's all right. I don't need it." And they kept offering. I kept saying, no. And then I told Tyler, and Tyler's like, "Dude, you should have taken it. He was like, that would have helped you so much."
Okay,
I'd already swallowed my
I kept
pride by this
saying,
point.
Yeah.
But
You're like, I'll take your charity, no worries.
well, see, he was all right. He was still working a second job. Like, he was, like, working heaps of hours. But, yeah, like, on that, like, that would have made such a difference. But then, yeah, I did start accepting help from people on that. And it helped me, because the thing is, you need to earn money to make money.
Yeah.
So, like, I started, like, oh, yeah, all right. Like, and now again. And then, within a few months after that, after accepting help from other people, I was in a way better position. Now I don't need to take help from anyone.
Yeah.
But, it was a steep.
Look, I think the
steep learning curve.
favour always comes back around. Like, whether you help a person, you repay a person, through money or with favours. Like, what goes around comes around at the end of the day. And, yeah, when it matters, like, people do dig deep. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that you did receive that help is awesome, and it's a blessing, and it's the reason why you have Apex today. So, and it's great. And yes, you're right. Like, sometimes you do need to swallow your pride in situations, because one thing people struggle with is asking for help. And especially with things like when you do suffer from anxiety and depression, that there is always going to be at least 5 to 10 people that do love and adore you and that want to see the best for you, whether it's the 5 or 10 people that you imagine it to be or not. Sometimes it's the people you don't realise that are there that will help you pull through some really tough and difficult situations in life.
That's true.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's like not always the people you expect, right?
yeah, totally. So yeah, look, it's been a really interesting journey. I feel like being in my 30s now, I'm in a really good place mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Like, I'm quite spiritual because, like, I saw counsellors and psychologists and stuff like that, and I never really felt like they were really connecting with what I was saying.
Yeah.
Whereas when you dive into spirituality, you're really forced to face who you are as a person. Like, it's one thing to pay a person $100 an hour and to have them go, so how does that make you feel? Well, how do you fucking think it makes me feel? You know what I'm saying? And it's, you know, when you go inside yourself and you really start to dig deep and you change the story you tell yourself, you watch the language you say, you start believing in yourself a lot more, like, that can take years to perfect, but done with consistency, you can truly really transform your life in ways you can only imagine. So you're really lucky you got a lot of support from your family. I wanted to open a gym myself last year and got zero support from my family. So that dream went down the toilet pretty quick because financially they were too busy supporting the dreams of my siblings. But that's okay, that's a side story. But I won't give up.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it won't happen.
No, it doesn't mean it won't happen.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes I'll ask myself, why are some people dealt a shit hand in life? You know, and it's like, because you're destined for far more greatness and success than what you realise. And this is why you're faced with these difficult situations, because every time you hit a roadblock, you're then forced to go internal and go, how can I overcome this without falling apart?
Yeah.
And I think when you relate that back to a health and fitness journey of, if you're a mum of 3 and you want to lose weight because all your time and energy has been forced into looking after your children, your husband, and you've completely lost yourself. But then when you want to look after yourself and your husband looks down on you, in some way, shape or form, you need to find the strength to say, screw that, I'm going to do it anyway. And if your husband doesn't support you, I'd question your marriage first and foremost. Yeah. But you got to do it anyway.
Yeah, it's true. And vice versa as well. And yeah, it's a big deal though, like going through anxiety, depression, and then like even trying to start a business and all the things you have to deal with, and like how poor you can get or how time poor you can be.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Running out of time. I think one thing though, like with the wanting to open a gym last year and then not being able to, well, we were expecting to open 7-8 months earlier than we did, and then the fact that we did get screwed was actually like a blessing in disguise for us, right? Like,
yeah, it was.
So
So when you say you got screwed, what happened?
So just putting it out. We've never put it out there.
Yeah, I guess we've never openly talked about it. Yeah.
Yeah,
you don't have to if you don't want to.
No, it's okay. We'll just admit all names and stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty much in the most basic form, we'd signed a contract with people to sublease, and then it was all good. We needed 3 months' notice to leave, and that we had the rent agreement and everything. So we'd signed it. Well, it was a letter of intent and everything, right? So anyway, and then a few days before, we were about to, it was all going well. We were about to order like 50, 60 grand worth of Eleco and everything, all powerlifting specific equipment. Yep. And and then they asked for our business plan. And we're like, yeah, well, there's nothing sus about that. Like, we're going to be working real closely with these guys. Sent them the business plan. And then the next day, we got an email, don't order your equipment yet. And that's when I called Tyler, like, because Tyler's an optimist. My missus likes to call me a pessimist. I like to just say I'm realistic.
A realist. Yep.
Right? I'm just realistic. And I was like, no, I remember this conversation. I'm like, dude, something's wrong. You're like, nah, man. Like, I'm sure they just want to, have a talk about something. I'm like, no, something's wrong. And then I called Tyler the next day because I saw the email first. And they completely changed everything. They made the rent way more expensive. They made it so we could only have 5 people in at a time. They just made it unreal, like impossible for us to go into there. Right. So we're like, look, we could go in for 3 months, but it's not worth the hassle. Lucky we didn't order all that equipment, right? And go in there for that. So
thank God for that.
And we were mad, and I was about ready to just move to America and go work at a mate's gym over there. And I was like, man, fuck, I don't want to do this.
It's too hard.
And then so we fleshed it out, and it was a good few weeks before we actually it was pretty raw. So we didn't talk about it for a good 2-3 weeks properly. And then we're like, no, look, all right. And then I talked to Jamie, the owner of Renegade, an amazing guy, right? And I'd already given him my notice there. And he's like, no, man, look, you can stay here as long as you want. And then he really helped us out. Just like, no, man, like, this is okay. You can come back. Like, you...
Yeah.
And he talked to us. He's like, look, let's punch it out. No, you can open another place. You know, you just got to set it back a little bit. And that's what we did. But we got screwed. Yeah, so they saw the business plan, go, hey, this could make good money. I want to do this now. Right, and they haven't.
So when you say sublease, is this a separate business that was going to come in and obviously be an offsider to your service?
So it was a big warehouse.
Yeah.
And it was a fitness center, but they had a big space. They had old equipment that they weren't really going to use, so they were still going to be able to use our equipment. We were just going to run the club out of there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're sharing the space, but 2 different businesses.
And are they still there?
Yeah.
Yes.
They are. Okay. So you got screwed over, fair to say.
Yeah. Like, it could have been worse.
Yeah.
Could have ordered
Yeah.
equipment
He
and
didn't give
stuff,
us that
right?
extra day because I was pushing to order it, remember?
Yeah, and I was like, oh, like, obviously a bit anxious about it because I'm like, I don't want to spend 50 grand, like, you know.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
I'm
A lot
like,
of money for not very much equipment
The issue
either.
is
Yeah, that's right.
We'd asked the week before whether it was still good to go ahead and everything, and they said yes.
Yeah, they were confident.
And then they saw the business plan and they went, all they saw was numbers.
Yeah.
This is what we think anyway. So they saw, oh, you charge $50 a week. They don't realize that's with all the coaching experience and expertise and everything like that. So they just saw $50 a week. Wow, if we get 100 people in, how much money? Well, you're not going to get 100 people, first of all. Like, it's a small scale thing, right?
Yeah.
But they didn't see it like that. And on the business plan, it was optimistic and it's worked out for us. Actually, our growth is stuck really close to the business plan.
Yeah.
But they don't realize that a lot of what people go to places isn't just for equipment, it's for specific coaches as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and community too. So,
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah,
so the interesting thing is, sorry to cut you off, is do you know how their business is doing?
this is the funny part is that, it's like, it hasn't worked out for their decision. They screwed up.
Right.
Yeah,
Did they bite off more than what they could chew?
Yeah, it would have been more beneficial if we went there for sure, and we end up getting a better situation in our own place, which now we can potentially expand
The
in
only
this place
thing-
as well.
Yeah.
Karma.
And a better location. This location is better as well.
Yeah.
And that was going to be my next question is, from that whole experience, what did you guys learn? Like, because there's a lesson in everything and there's always a blessing in disguise. And obviously now you've got the opportunity to grow.
I know the big thing I learned was at the start that would have been easier for us because of the rent being less and having a bit of support, but it would have limited our growth and we wouldn't have been able to do what we wanted to do and changes we needed to make to the club as easily as we wanted.
Yeah.
So what I learned was, look, even though it might be a little bit easier at the start, it's usually not worth it.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, if you look at it logically, realistically, next time we'd just be like, we're just going to do it off our own backs again because, with the next venture we do undertake, because even though it's harder at the start, the reward's a lot more.
Yeah,
and,
totally.
You can do what you want to do.
And if it's doable from the start, then why wouldn't you? It was just about going in the deep end versus in the shallow end. That was the difference in the
and
two
like they say, like,
situations.
do what's hard and life becomes easy. You do what's easy, life becomes hard. So you're far better off. Yes, you did the hard yards, but tell me one gym owner that doesn't. Everyone struggles.
You look at anyone successful, they always talk about, there's going to be times where you lose or you fail.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not,
It goes
everyone
hand in hand.
is
It's
going
a
to fail
given.
at some point.
Yeah, it is an absolute given in business that you will hit a low point. That's what drives your success at the end of the day. You have to hit that low point to get to the top. It's as simple as that.
It's about overcoming those points.
Yeah. So good on you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just quickly, so you've competed twice in boxing.
Yeah. So it was very short-lived. So I competed. So after 6 months with my first coach, Igor, I just wanted to hurry up and jump in the ring. And Igor was trying to look out for my best interests. And he's like, look, I don't think you're ready. I think you need a few more months. We need to get you some proper sparring, this and that. Anyway, I started to just suss out different coaches and stuff. So I went to Doherty's in Brunswick. So, a girl from St. Albans drives all the way to Brunswick, where all the heavies hang out and stuff like that. And I thought, I'll find someone here. So I was just hitting the bags one night, and then there was this guy, his name was Colin, and he was holding pads, or he was just boxing at the time. Anyway, he must have seen something in me, and he goes, do you want me to hold some pads for you? And I said, okay, sure. So I jumped in the ring, we just held pads, and we connected. And he goes, have you had a fight? And I said, no, not as yet. I said, my coach doesn't think I'm ready. Anyway, so with time, I eventually transitioned across into Colin, and you know, he said all the right things about what I wanted to hear about jumping in the ring. You're going to be the next champ. You're going to be this, blah, blah, blah. You got huge potential, this, that. So I trained 6-7 days a week, and that was my life. So I was completely engulfed by boxing. And when I wasn't doing boxing, I was training, whether it was runs on the beach or, you know, 5K run every single day. So I was obsessed, watched boxing, listened to the Rocky album for a year. Like, I was crazy, yeah? And it was the only thing I listened to until I got into the fight. So did I pro my mindset? Yeah, fucking oath I did. You know, and it paid off in the first fight. And then in the second fight, which was only about 3 months later, so I was then fighting in the summer. So when you fight as an amateur, obviously you got the helmet on and it's really hot under the helmet. And this was at the Calabria Club in Brunswick. And it was really hot in there. It felt like 45 degrees under the helmet and stuff. But the night before the fight, my coach, Colin, had stepped in for this pro girl who needed a last-minute step-in coach. So meanwhile, he and I had prepped 3 months for this fight. He decides to take a last-minute fight, loses his voice the night before from yelling instruction for her fight, and I've got no coach on my fight because I couldn't hear what he was saying. So for anyone that has ever boxed or who doesn't know much about boxing, but without your coach's voice, you're fucked in the ring because your coach can see what you can't.
Yes.
Yeah.
True.
So when you have the blinkers on, all you see is your target. Your coach can see everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and when you're running on only sort of adrenaline for the fight, like obviously you need your coach to calm you down, to tell you what your next plan of attack for the next round will be. So I felt let down in a way, you know. Anyway, went to Thailand after that, went for 10 days, 8 days, whatever it was. Bought him a couple of singlets, came back, went to Doherty's, caught up with him and, you know, gave him his singlets and things felt awkward, but I was like, it's all right, we'll let it go. We'll just move on.
Yep.
And I had a funny feeling in my stomach. And then he turned around and said to me, he goes, I've been doing some thinking while you've been away and I feel as though you're not fit enough to fight. You know, I don't feel like I want to coach you anymore, blah, blah, blah. And I go, but it was one fight and I lost by half a point. I go, and you lost your voice. I said, how is that my fault? You know, so I think people I think in my 20s, I came to understand that people can really let you down. Despite how good you are as a person, despite how much work you put in, people will still let you down. People will make you believe they believe in you and still let you down. And it's like, okay, how do I overcome this?
Yeah.
How do I then move on? Well, then you raise your standards after that. You raise your standards with the people that you then associate with and obviously what you believe in. And then, obviously after that, I never stepped back in the ring, but I started lifting weights, got into bodybuilding, started to really build my physique up and stuff, but always loved and will always love boxing. And now I coach boxing, not to get people to the ring, but I coach them for fitness and stuff like that. And, you know, the feedback is some of the people that come and coach with me, they're like, you know, of all the classes, we've learnt more in your class. And it's like, yeah, because, you know, when you do the hard yards for so many years, whether you have 50 fights or whether you have 2, the training behind the scenes is months and months and hours upon hours and missing out on functions. And you've got to cut your work hours back because you've got to be in the gym 5, 6, 7 days a week for a fight, even just for one fight. So it's intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes powerlifting sound good. 4 days a week.
It's a walk in the park. Oh, it's good because you can run your business. You don't have to diet much if your weight's on point. Like it's easy.
Yeah.
But I don't even know where I was going with this, but yeah, look, like I said, there's been a lot of lessons in life.
Well, it's the lessons, and it's like the whole fool me once, you know, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like you've learnt from those, and then you won't let it happen again.
Yeah.
And which, people it's like there's some bad people out there, and you're gonna get screwed over at some point. Everyone will.
Yeah.
But it's just about not letting it happen over and over and letting it destroy you.
Correct. Yeah. So I suppose the bittersweet ending to that story is my first coach went from his garage and now has 2 studios, one being the size of a massive warehouse, and he has about 300 members. So
That's
he's
awesome.
actually
Sweet.
created an amazing business. And it took me about 7-8 years to go back and confront him and choking up and stuff like that, and I could feel the tears inside of me, because it's like, had I have not left you, I probably could have gone all the way. And that was the whole lesson. It was like, sometimes the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and you have to be patient on your journey. If your coach says to you it's going to take you a year, you better fucking listen to that coach. If you've put money into that coach and you like that person, just wait.
Yeah.
Because you could spend the rest of your life in regret that you didn't wait, because then that eye of the tiger and that fire in your belly goes. Yeah. Because when you get to 30 and you're not 26 anymore, and you don't live at home with mummy and daddy anymore, and you got more responsibilities, maybe it's too late. You know, do you need to fight? Like, do I need to fight? No, I don't, because now I've got other priorities in my life, yeah? So I felt like, in a way, I missed my opportunity, but I got a lot from the lesson side of things to go, okay, I can be a fantastic coach because I can tell you now how not to fuck up.
Yeah, it's so easy for people like other coaches and stuff to see someone that's doing well, and it happens in powerlifting and everything, right? People poach people's lifters and stuff, but you see a really eager athlete and they're doing really well, and then to go and promise them the sun, right?
Yes.
So like, I'm going to make you the best. My method's a secret. They're you know, unheard of. Look at all these people I've done well with, and this is in a lot, and this is in probably most sports. Yeah. And then as a coach, you go in, you get that person, you promise them everything, and it's so easy to plant that seed of doubt. And when a coach is doing the proper thing and trying to give them slow, steady progress, because that's the best way to succeed, right? You don't become a champion at anything in a year. But it's so easy to tell a lifter that doesn't, or an athlete that doesn't know any better or wants to be the best, that you can be that. And you see it a lot with like lifters, and we don't see it much now, but you know, again, with younger lifters, they'll come in, oh, what about this? What if I just do smaller for my squat for a bit? And you're like, well, yeah, your squat will go up, but then it's going to drop off, and you know, you'll be where you are again now, or you'll injure yourself and stuff. How many people get injured in programs like that? But it's, again, people promise that it's going to be the best thing you've ever done for your squat. Well, it's not realistic and it's not sustainable. So you're actually not going to get better than you would if you just train consistently and smart for 2 years.
Yeah, totally. So, yeah, one thing as a coach I never do is overpromise anything to people, but I do guarantee results if they put in the hard work. Yeah. It's as simple as that. It's like I put a 30-day guarantee on my coaching now, and I've just increased my prices drastically because, you know, I'm three years full-time as a coach, you know, 33 years with experience, I say. It's like all that life experience. You get all that life experience as well as my 11 years lifting experience plus competing experience plus all that. Yeah. But yeah, now it's like I just signed up a girl the other day and I did the sale over the phone and stuff like that. And, you know, I said to her, look, today you're going to make an answer. It's yes or it's no. There's not going to be maybe. There's not going to be you're going to let me know. You're not going to go and speak to your partner. For on this call today, you're going to know by the end of the call whether we're a good fit for each other or not. You know, and I think as a coach, it's knowing your own self-worth, you know, after years of setbacks and this and that. And, you know, when people can feel that self-worth, sorry, my English is really bad. Yeah, I think self-worth is a big one. I think people are trying to buy that or find that when it comes to coaching. So to a message to consumers out there, like people shopping around for coaches especially, is that don't buy into the hype. Don't buy into the hype straight away. Like, trust your instincts. Like, if something feels off, trust that, man. Like, I nearly invested into I won't mention the name, but I nearly invested into a business coach 2 years ago who wanted 20 grand. But my vibes were just off. Like, something just wasn't, like, sitting well with me. And I'm like, I couldn't even get the finance anyway, which was a good thing. And I'm glad I didn't in the end. And now I have another brilliant coach called Pete Tansley. It's cheeky name drop there, but you know, and he didn't come cheap, but he has been amazing. And one thing he has helped me rediscover within myself is, you know, my level of self-worth. And now, like in the last month, I've just had this revelation within myself about there was certain key players in my life who were very close to me that were no longer serving me. And making that decision to get rid of that out of my life was, you know, one of the hardest things I've had to do. But when you're in a position of you know, like your gut is screaming at you that persons A, B, and C are not serving you, and you could live the life of your dreams, and that scares the shit out of you. But all you need to do is make that decision, yes or no.
Yeah.
And when you do, life opens up all these doors for you.
Yeah. And it's like, and knowledge and time is valuable, and it's about like understanding that your time is valuable. And so don't undervalue yourself. And for all coaches out there, you know, who's starting out especially, like, it's about not undervaluing yourself.
Don't be afraid to charge. Don't get caught in charging too little.
Yeah.
Because you end up resenting or not wanting to do. Thing is, it sounds so bad, but like you end up resenting that. And you're like, fuck, I'm charging 25 and, you know, everyone else is paying 50 and I've got 3 people that I do just as much work for and they're paying less than half. And while it shouldn't be, money is a driving factor, especially later on in your career.
Yep.
And this is